Let me bang.
I do let you bang. Hey,
let me bang you, Gaine, man.
I let you bang. I let you bang.
Greetings, nerds and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No forget Jesus, people.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me. I'm here with McCorkle, Don Frye. I think Hector Lombard and possibly Mayhem are coming on today. So we have some show. That's what happens. What happens is I try to get guests and I hit up like two people and then they don't get back to me. And then I hit up like two more people and then they're like, oh, I'll do it. And then the first two people are like, hey, I'm ready to do it tomorrow. So now I have too many guests. Every week that happens when you do your own thing. How you doing, Don? You look good.
I'm always look good, baby. Right? So do you for once.
Thank you.
Nice shirt. Nice shirt,
that.
baby.
This is it's the Hitman.
Pinky Pescadero.
Fucking Hitman Hart, man.
Oh, okay, cool. I take it back. Yeah, that's the guy who's great wrestler.
Now, were you in wrestling when he knocked out Vince McMahon? Did you like know that right away?
No, I never wrestled here. I wrestled in Japan.
But was that like talked about among the wrestlers? Was that like famous thing where like, Vince screwed him over? I guess the Montreal screw job or something happened and he went out and just like decked him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty obvious. I mean, and you got to realize Bret Hart and Owen Hart, who their dad was. Their dad was a real shooter. So they taught those boys how to shoot. So, I mean, he could have done a lot of damage to anybody in that locker room.
I was watching a documentary on him on A&E, and they said that they had like a circus bear that lived under their house. And he would put chocolate on his feet, and the bear would lick off the chocolate. And he thought that was like normal, that everyone had a bear living under their house.
That was normal for me, except instead of a bear, it was two pedophiles. But the rest of that story sounds very familiar.
So,
look at you too. Hey.
I really did have two pedophiles living with me when I was a kid, but they were heterosexual, so there was no issues.
But by the way, the rapper DaBaby, he's in a lot of shit. Did you hear what happened?
Is he into trouble? No.
So I guess he was like on stage and he was like, he said something. The rapper. He said something at his concert like, "Yo, give a shout out if you don't have any STDs or AIDS or anything that like you could die within 2 weeks, and that you weren't given and you weren't
stone quiet.
You weren't getting
stone quiet in there, huh?
Yeah. So then, like, his apology was even worse. Like, he's like, "Yo, man, none of my fans are gay because they're not nasty motherfuckers that suck dick and have AIDS." Like it was like worse than the actual thing. So now he's like getting kicked off every concert now, like Lollapalooza, this and that. He's like the fuck, this guy. I don't know what he was thinking.
I think there's three laws in life, man. Three laws you can't get away from in life. One is eat your vegetables. Two is don't eat yellow snow. And three is do not piss off the LGBTQYZ community, because apparently 90% of people are gay. So like the whole world turns against you if you say anything. 90% of people except the two pedophiles that lived in my basement. They don't count in that demographic.
Did you guys watch the fights last week? Don, Sean?
I saw some of them, yeah.
No.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what happened. In the main event, Uriah Hall fought Sean Strickland, and Uriah Hall had one of those nights where he just couldn't get going. It just seemed like he was like 3 steps slower than he usually is. And I wouldn't say for a lot. He looked like he was in good shape. he just had that night where it was just a bad fucking night for him. You ever have that night, Sean or Don?
My last 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a bunch, yeah.
I mean,
it's like what that poor gal, that's what that poor gymnast, Simone, went through, Sometimes you can't get them all firing on the same, at the same time. So you end up doing more harm than good.
Well, I think also with her was she was allowed to take Ritalin her whole career, and then they banned it in Japan. They said, so she was like the first time off Ritalin in a long time. And I think that that fucked with her, because if you take Ritalin for years and all they just go off it, especially a girl who's like 115 pounds or something, like a girl like that who's also probably has OCD and this and that. So there's a lot of issues there. And I'm happy that she came back and took bronze. Good for her. So good for her.
Wait, so she did end up competing? I thought she quit.
No, she came back yesterday and took bronze. Oh. But it was after all that.
She did one event, right?
Yeah, she did one event. It was after all that. Yeah. By the way, it just bothers me. I was watching the wrestling.
One event. Yeah.
I was watching the wrestling last night, and I don't understand why America we do folk style wrestling, and the Olympics they do freestyle and Greco. Everywhere, it just seems like we can all switch to freestyle or Greco.
Yeah.
Because it seems like we're not sending our best wrestlers because a lot of these.
No,
we're
10 years. We're 10 years behind on the Greco and the freestyle. We're 10 years on the freestyle and maybe 25, 30 in the Greco. Just
when did that?
What's the difference between folk style and freestyle?
Because.
Don, talk.
So what's the difference between folk style and freestyle? I don't know.
Rules.
It's a whole different point system. I mean, Greco is all upper body throwing, right? And freestyle,
right.
And freestyle, you get points every time somebody exposes their back to the mat. So you could just barrel roll a guy, or a leg lace would be a really good move for freestyle.
Right.
Constantly. Whereas in folk style, if your back gets exposed for 1 second, they get no points. You could just roll through it. So you're not doing Granby rolls and shit and freestyler, because the guy can kind of control you, So it's a really different.
You pin yourself.
Yeah, you pin yourself, right?
You pin yourself in freestyle doing something like that.
Right, exactly. And so it's really a whole different set of rules. And also sometimes you get 1 point for a takedown versus 2. If a guy tries to throw you and you just kind of sag. So it's a whole different. So we're not setting our best guys. I think we would dominate, in folk style, but no one else does it. I don't know when the shift happened, when all of a sudden the world went one way and we went another way, but it's just stupid. It doesn't. It's hard for me to get into it too when I don't even know all the rules for freestyle. And I was a 4-time state champ in fucking high school, and I was never a freestyle guy, because you only do freestyle really an off season, or if summers, or you go to certain camps for it, because in some ways Don, correct me if I'm wrong, if you get really good at freestyle, it can almost hurt you sometimes in folk style, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you got a different mindset going on, and different rules. So it gets so confusing. It's like when they switch from no holds barred to MMA. Yeah, it was kind of confusing.
Yeah, so certain guys like Ben Askren was never a good freestyle wrestler, because all that funky shit he was doing would have not paid off for him, Certain guys, a guy like Jordan Burroughs or somebody who's they could adapt, the elite of the elite could adapt. But it's just it's especially if you don't have the capabilities of, you don't have a parent take you to freestyle tournaments, or a certain coach that looks out for you and that, so it's just, I don't know, it's weird.
I know if you take away my ability to do a Granby roll, my fighting is worthless. That's the one thing I can't do without.
So I got to say, in Bellator, by the way, which I think they did the numbers, and I think Bellator did 175,000 views, and UFC did 900,000, which is crazy because, Showtime, not really crazy to think about it. But Don, is there any place you have better Wi-Fi? It's just kind of there's got to be a room, right? You have better Wi-Fi? No?
Why? What's wrong?
It just keeps like stuttering.
What's wrong?
Like I stutter in general, but it seems like, right? I mean, Sean, are you kind of hearing it too?
No.
All right, now it's better. So AJ McCee.
It's my bulldog. I was playing. It's Quinn, my bulldog. We were playing tug of war.
Oh, well.
That explains it.
Well, thank you for waiting to do the podcast to play tug of war with your bulldog. You fucking clown.
Hey, when a bulldog wants to play tug of war, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice as to the time or place.
It's a good point. Good
They
point.
want to play. They want to play.
So what was I saying? Bellator, this guy, AJ McCee, ran through Pitbull like I haven't seen. This dude, Pitbull, was on like a 4-fight winning streak, beat Michael Chandler early, ran through everybody. AJ McCee hit him with a lead kick and then submitted him with a guillotine quickly. 1 round. So now Scott Coker said, hey, I'll put him up against any of the UFC. Are you still playing tug of war now? Is that what's going on?
No, I'm trying to move. I'm trying to move to another room so you quit bitching at me. Quinn.
Look, Don, I love you. But I had a whole show planned. I had a whole, that's a cute bulldog. I had a whole show planned. I had like, and now I'm explaining to you the fights you didn't watch, and now I'm having to like fight with you over your internet. But I'm still, this is my thing. I'm honored to have you on. Like, you're a fucking legend. You're people constantly. Yeah, people send me links going, this is the greatest UFC fight of all time, not even knowing that I know you, and it's your fight. Okay, so I just want to let you know. But that being said, I do wish that we had better Wi-Fi and that you weren't playing tug. Okay, this is better. All right, Sean, is it me? Is it me? Am I fucking losing my mind here?
No, I was just thinking they send you those fights, and they're like, you want to see the worst fight in UFC you've ever seen? And then they send a couple of mine. They're like, yep, you're right. That's the best and worst.
You fucking beat Mark Hunt, who is like a top 20 fighter in the heavyweight, like of all time, maybe. You beat him in less than 1 minute. And then you fought Stefan Struve, who has a victory over Stipe Miocic, who they consider the best heavyweight of all time. So give me a fucking break, Sparkle. Come on, man. Give me a break. I mean, and Christian Morehouse is a very underrated fighter, too. That was a weird fight for you.
Yeah, especially Christian Morecraft, too.
Yeah, right, that guy.
Not just Morehouse, but Morecraft isn't bad either.
So anyway, what I was saying was this guy, AJ McCee, 26 years old. He's 18-0. He beat Pitbull fast. You watched the fight?
Yeah, I was really surprised, man. I was even more surprised after the fight on Instagram. He posted a picture with his dad, and I genuinely didn't know which was which. And I'm being dead serious. Like, I didn't know. They both looked the same age. I was like, I don't know which of them. Both of their shirt off, both flexing. And I was like, I don't know who's the son and who's the dad, you know? His dad keeps himself in phenomenal shape, apparently. Yeah,
but I mean, can you believe how easy he beat Pitbull?
No, that was shocking, especially a lot of guys with those big records like that, 17, 18-0, they haven't really beat, a lot of guys or faced real stiff competition. But, yeah, he walked straight through him, man. It was crazy.
So Scott Coker made a challenge to have him versus anybody in the UFC. There's no way Dana White takes that. Although he has a clause now, AJ McCee. He says he cannot fight for a year and get released from Bellator, or he has a 3-fight contract, but he renegotiates the money right away. I mean, he's got to ask for the world, right?
Right. Yeah, if I was him, I'd stay in Bellator, man. You can fight easier fights for more money in Bellator. Everybody in the UFC is a killer, in the top 10. But not that Bellator didn't have some good fighters, but, yeah, you can fight much easier fights in Bellator. From everything I've talked to everyone I know, Bellator pays considerably more to the top, 5 guys in the division. So.
Yeah. No, it was unbelievable.
Can they still wear in Bellator? Can they still wear their own gear and have their blanket with all their advertisers and everything?
Yeah. The problem is it's on Showtime and the viewership's down. It's like, the problem is that the issue is that you got the best fighter in the world getting 175,000 views.
On a network, you got the best fighter in the world on a network that gave Brendan Schaub a comedy special.
Yeah, I mean, best fighter in the world in Bellator. Best fighter in Bellator. I not the best fighter in the world. I take that back. I mean, we don't know, but I would argue that he could beat, Max Holloway or Volkanovski. I mean, he's right there. He's fucking right there. All right, so last night I did a show, and I got some kind of bad news. Whatever. I thought I was up for something. I didn't get it. Somebody handed me like 3 edibles, right? Like 3 cookie edibles, and he goes, I made this myself. I got home and took it. I was up till 6 o'clock in the morning writing jokes. I couldn't sleep. I don't know if any of it's funny, but I thought I would tell you guys some of the things that I fucking taught you guys. What do you guys say? My edible.
Maybe we need to eat some edibles before we listen to them to really get the joke.
Right. They're not even really jokes. They're just more like thoughts. Just kind of work. All right. Now, do you have any friends, by the way, Don or Sean, that like you lost touch with, you had a falling out?
No.
Yeah, like Sean, do you have any friends like back in the day you were like best friends, you had a falling out you don't talk to, and you think maybe I should go reach out and like make amends, even though it's kind of their fault, you're not friends with them?
No, I used to do that until the same people just kept screwing me over and over again. So now if anyone slights me in like even the smallest way, I just never speak to them again, even if it's like a 30-year friend. Like if they try to rip me off on a roof, let's say, like one of my friends did recently, or did return text when I needed something from him for weeks at a time when I had done hundreds of things for the dude. So yeah, no, I don't make amends anymore, man. I'm tired of it. So maybe I'm bitter, but I'm just tired of everybody being all about themselves all the time. Not to bring the mood down on your joke, but
no, it's not a joke. I mean, Don, you?
Oh,
yeah, I've had it. Yeah, and it's really, fuck. I had lifelong friends, take the exit side in the divorce, and then find out that when I was in a coma, she was calling people up, spreading really vicious lies about me, and obviously I couldn't defend myself, and then I didn't know anything about it for a whole year after I got out of the coma, so shit. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
Because I always hear like on these TikTok videos, they're like, go back and make amends with people, even if it's their fault. It'll help bring clarity. So there was this kid in my high school that I obviously wasn't like, not obviously, but I was a leader on the wrestling mat, but everywhere else I was kind of a follower. Like there was like the cool kid in my school, Sean. He was like he was better with girls, more charismatic, and I kind of followed his lead, because I wanted to be cool. Anyway, so like he like fucked everyone over and like ran away from the school, and then came back and everyone turned their back on him. And it was a boarding school, and I like took the guy in, but he was like kind of a dirty kid. Like he would like, when he was fingering a girl one time, he like put his toe in her, and then everyone called her like toe jam. Or he like picked up a marker with his toe and put it in her in high school and told everybody, like, and people called her Cratola. Like he was kind of like a fucking dickhead like that.
Anyway, I had a lot of toe stories.
Yeah.
More than the average.
So
any fingers?
Yeah, he had fingers. He did have fingers. I'm not really sure why he did that, to be honest, now that I think about it. So one night, my roommate was sleeping, so I went into the bathroom to like masturbate, because I was 11th grade. And I go to the bathroom and start jerking off in the stall. And then I hear him laughing in the other stall. He was jerking off too, right? But he was like known to be jerking off. Like, so he told the whole school he caught me jerking off. And then they called me like Dark Bader and the Midnight Murata. And I was like crushed by this, Sean. Like I was crying because like the girls I liked fucking were like, I walked to the cafeteria, people start laughing at me and pointing. It like kind of crushed me. And like, and I took this kid back. Like I was like his only friend. Anyway, fast forward, like when I quit the wrestling team in college, I called him to like, hey man, I quit the team. And he told me, well, how doesn't it bother you that you never played the nationals and this other kid did? That kind of sucks. Like just like really fucking hit me when I was down. Cut to like a couple years later, we were doing comedy together, and he brought this girl that like this cute girl from our school that he was sort of dating. Like he went a couple dates with, but he was cheating on her. So I went out with her afterwards and ended up like dating her, and living with her.
How long were you in high school for?
This is when I was in my 30s, like late 20s. He came to a show, and I ended up like
a couple years later.
So he got real mad at me because I started dating this girl, and he's like, "Just so you know, I fucked her in the ass. I hope you die of cancer. All this shit." And then
cancer.
So I ended up falling in love with this girl. Like it didn't work out, but we did love each other. But the point is that sometimes like bad intentions, like initially I hooked up with her to kind of like get back at him, and like she was hot anyway, can lead to like you falling in love. Sometimes things like fucking turn corners. That was the whole point. Yeah, I think I was pretty stoned when I fucking thought about this. Actually, I'm not really sure where we're going with this, but.
So did you make amends with him?
No, I'm fucking no. Now that I fucking think about it, I'm like, fuck this guy. By the way, I ended up having sex last night with my wife after taking edibles, and it was the best sex I've ever had because I wasn't really all there. Like I was thinking about other shit, so I didn't come quickly.
So you and her were finally on the same page.
You didn't call. Yeah, you didn't call out. You didn't call out the other girl's name, did you?
No, I called out your name, Don. So no, but I was like, but then
Brendan Schwab's name.
No, but then she told me to like talk dirty to her, and I just started like complaining about her mom. Like, hey, by the way, your mom keeps complaining that like there's dog shit in the fucking like I'll come downstairs and she'll sit on the couch and be like the dog peed on the floor. Like she could just go pick it up, but she wants me to pick it up. I'm like, you're a fucking dog pound, you know? So this is what I started saying during sex, just complaining about shit. So that wasn't the kind of dirty talk she wanted to hear. But meanwhile, my dog fucking still hates
Obviously.
me. Sean, does your dog still hate you?
No, my dogs are good now, man. They're cool. They're a little wild, but they're cool. I was thinking that she probably, when you were messing around with your wife, you should have asked her if she wanted this toe or something like that. Maybe that would. Apparently that's a thing. I didn't know, but yeah, like I don't know, but no, my dogs are awesome and expensive. I got another one on the way.
Oh. I actually did beat the guy up though in like lacrosse practice. After he told everyone that I was jerking off, I tackled him and sort of beat the shit out of him. And then anyway,
awesome.
So anyway, Don, I got this dog that has one eye. I rescued it from like a trailer park. I brought him home. He's in love with my wife. He growls at me every day. I give him treats. I take him for walks, and he still with one eye keeps growling at me. And I feel like he knows something. I feel like he knows something about me. Like that's how much like.
You jacked off?
No. He actually. I feel like he can see inside me with the one eye.
You jacked off in a bathroom stall with another guy. He doesn't want any part of that.
All right. Some more stone thoughts. So Matt Damon, 2 days ago, Matt Damon said his daughter just told him last week that you can't say the word fag. That's not appropriate, right? And then all of a sudden he's trending like, why did it take till last week for Matt Damon to know this? This is what happens when you have everybody you know on the payroll. Because Matt Damon probably pays for everything. All his friends are taken care of. He says the word fag all the time, and everyone's afraid to say anything because they're not going to get shit. Like his daughter's like the 50 who's probably like, she's the only one not getting paid by him. You can't have yes men in your life, or that many yes men. Don, did that ever happen with you when you were champion? People just said yes about everything?
Of course, it's enjoyable. I really liked it. Except for the wife. The wife would always bitch at me. Fuck.
Sean, did you ever have yes men in your life?
I think I still do because I didn't know you couldn't say fag. I say it all the time. So I didn't know that was frowned upon. So apparently you'd have a talk with those around me. But bunch of fags.
A part of me thinks that you make enough money. A part of me thinks you make enough money so that you have yes men. That's probably what it does. Like you end up paying for people so you don't have to hear what they have to say. Like he probably
most people are afraid of me, like that I'll punch them in the face because I really will punch people in the face. Like if they cross me, I don't really worry about going to jail too much. So no, I would say I don't have very many friends either because I'm really antisocial. So I don't really like talking to you and Don on here is the most social interaction I have all week. Like I kind of just stay to myself and read all day now. I don't know, man. Come up with plans on spending tens of thousands of dollars on dogs that won't come in to eat. Things like that.
There was a comic that I used to open for. I'm not going to say who.
You gotta talk nice to him.
Who literally
Bring him flowers.
one time asked me in Vegas, hey, man, you mind if I use your room to fuck a prostitute? Because my wife is staying in my room. And I was like, I'm like, there's a guy that no one's saying no to. You know, I mean, like, right? I mean, meanwhile, his comedy is all about family values.
Is this Matt Damon? I have a feeling that's who contacted you. And you were like, no, you can't use my room. He's like, what a fag.
Dude, meanwhile, so I'm like,
he said a comedian.
Meanwhile, Don, I'm not as bad as you when it comes to technology, but I'm actually pretty bad though. Like, so I just like basic cable, you know, like 1 to 500, right? So the guy who comes we have downstairs, we have a cable box. Upstairs, the guy goes, I can't put the cable box up, there's too much wiring. I'll put a smart TV up there. But I can't figure out how to get basic cable from a smart TV, right? So it took me like an hour last night when I was high.
You're asking me?
No, I had to download the app, the cable app on my phone, and then change it and then program my phone to the TV and change it on my phone, right? And my wife's just sitting there laughing at me. And meanwhile, afterwards, she's like, listen, let's have sex first, and then I'll like help you with it. I'm like, fine, right? Okay, fine. So then while I'm trying to like do stuff with her, I'm like, you know, you could have helped me, but you just enjoy watching me struggle. And then she goes, are you talking to you right now or me? Basically saying I was doing that with sex. I was like, really? Fuck it. Like my wife's pretty fucking funny. But anyway. Meanwhile, my fucking, so downstairs we have all these like laundry, you know, and then we put it in trash bags and bring it upstairs. But we're so busy, we don't actually put the clothes away. So my room looks like a fucking homeless shelter with all these trash bags filled with laundry. Does anyone else have these problems? All right. Well, I don't know.
What the fuck does your mother-in-law do all day?
I'm so sure. Don wants to know what your mother-in-law's doing all day. Why is there laundry sitting around?
She's not staying with us right now. And then
not since she quit doing laundry.
Yeah, but meanwhile, meanwhile, so did I tell you, Sean, when I used to work at like Fox Sports, you know, I used to do that text from last fight where I would pretend I was fighters texting.
Yeah, I remember that.
So they would I would like take like 5 Adderalls for like all weekend getting it done. Just cramming it all week long. I would get it in by like Saturday night, like 5 a.m, work all night, and they wouldn't put it up till like Tuesday or Wednesday. It would just sit there, and then they would take out half the jokes. They were too offensive, but leaving like the setup to the jokes. So then people were like, how'd you miss that joke right there? Like, oh my God. I'm like, the joke was there, but they fucking took it out. Then they had me host Tough Talk with Karen Bryant, right? I lasted one episode.
What?
It was like after The Ultimate Fighter, they would have this like show where basically they interview the people from The Ultimate Fighter. So they gave me a bunch of – so they had me write all these jokes. And then Gilbert Melendez was the host, was the guy. So I made a Nick Diaz joke, which they approved. Like, oh, he's going to love it. So I say it, and he's like, yeah, you talk a lot of shit. Looks like someone needs to get stopped and slapped. And he like got mad at me, basically, during the show.
I heard that when you were writing for Fox, they were taking the punchlines out. They finally realized they could just hire Brendan Schaub, and he could give them jokes without punchlines, and they'd save all the editing work.
Oh, my God. So, and then one time, like, dude, we had an intern design the logo for the podcast, and I was like, okay, at Fox Sports, whatever, no problem. Then another person who had a similar logo, like, hit me up and said, hey, you took the logo from our podcast. I said, no, I didn't. I didn't even know you had a logo, right? So the guy's like, I talked to my lawyers. If you don't have it down, you know, you're going to get sued. And I'm like, as soon as someone says they talk to a lawyer and trying to sue me, that's like a whole different level, you know? I don't know, Sean, if that's – so the guy's like, it's not
yeah. I would have copied exactly their logo and used it after they said that to me. But
the guy's like, it's not.
Like,
the guy goes, it's not.
Wait. He talks to a $500 an hour lawyer before he calls you. I mean, I think that's some bullshit.
The guy goes.
You know, don't you usually call somebody and try to sell it?
Yeah. The guy goes, it's not clip art, okay? We paid thousands of dollars to get this logo paid. So I'm driving to San Diego. I'm looking at these texts. I get there, and I'm selling T-shirts after my comedy show, and there's a girl who's like a cam girl. But she's like a cam girl, but people pay her to watch her paint. She basically like paints in like a bikini. And she was an MMA fan. And I was reading to her the text. And she goes, let me see this logo. She says it was exactly clip art. Like he got fucking ripped off. He goes, no, anyone could take this. It's like $5 basically to have this. Like it's like free from the internet, the logo.
Right.
So I text the guy back. I'm like, not clip art, huh? He goes, oh shit, looks like I have another problem. Anyway, you could please take it down. Like, I'm like, bro, after you threatened to sue me? What the fuck is wrong with people? I mean, I never want to go to lawyers and sue people. I got sued. It reminded me did I tell you when I got sued for $20 million in college?
No. It wasn't for jerking off in the stall, was it?
No. So what happened was I quit the wrestling team, right? I was on the wrestling team, and every Thursday they had this like public access show where you can call up the show and just talk shit. And basically people were trying to have like real conversations about race and whatever. And I was like 17. So I'm like, yeah, we need to have Devane call in. They're like, who? I'm like, Devane and my dick. And I'd hang up the phone, right? And then my friends in the other dorm rooms would laugh because we were like the Simpsons kind of thing. So then I quit the team because I was losing 25 pounds a week and I was burned out. And I don't know if you know, I mean, Don, you're too tough to have this happen. But I just was like, I was wrestling D3 and I wanted to just prove that I can compete at that level. And I was burnt. I was burnt at it. There was no MMA back then, or there was, but it wasn't like, what it is now.
That's exactly what happened to me in basketball, man. I just wanted to prove I could get a scholarship to a Division I school. And then once I'd had like 50 offers in junior college, I didn't want to play anymore. I just wanted to, shut everybody's mouth that thought I wasn't good enough to play Division I, So
it's kind of like my last wrestling match, I was beating the kid up so bad they threw in the towel, the coach did, because I was like hurting the kid. And but anyway, so I'm like, I want my own show. So I go down and pretend to learn the fucking thing. It was called D's Nuts. It was a show on Monday night. They gave me a 4-hour show. It was me, a bunch of guys in the wrestling team, a Budweiser model, and then everyone starts calling it about me, going, "Are you Vanilla Ice or Corey Haim?" Everything that I was doing to other people, they were doing to me, right? So then this girl calls up and she's like, "You swept my ass at the gym."
That pissed you off, huh?
They kind of did. They're like, and plus I had my head shaved and I had like acne still from wrestling and my big cauliflower ear because before I had surgery in my ear. So they were like, people were just calling shit. This girl's like, everyone's gonna talk shit about me. My name is Hannah. I live on the 3rd floor of Newing. Yada yada yada. Now the whole school is calling it about this girl, going, "Hannah, you stole my jeans, you whore, you swept my ass at the gym." And she said I was sweating her because I was on the treadmill with 2 rubber suits. I was literally sweating, but not sweating her, right? So then she comes down to defend herself on the air from the callers. She sits down and she's like, "People are going to talk shit about me. They can go right ahead." So now the whole like freshmen and sophomores, like they all get closed caption TV. They're all calling it about her. I'm laughing, but like defending her, saying she doesn't seem like a bad person. Leave her alone. I had some guy who was like a Marine who was like 40 that went there, was like writing from the bottom of the screen, like, "Hannah's not a whore. She just likes sex," like just making fun of her the whole time. She goes back to her dorm. People throw water balloons at her. And that kid, Seth, that she's like, this guy named Seth needs to take his fat ass to the gym. He was captain of the soccer team. He came down to like make fun of her too. Lo and behold, after that, there were no more shows on Binghamton Television. They had to have a disclaimer. They canceled all the shows. And she sued me for $20 million. She sued the school for $20 million. She sued Seth for $20 million. And my dad was like, "You go to school for fucking 3 weeks, come home with a $20 million lawsuit. Can't you just go to class like everyone else?" Like, so it went to the Supreme Court of Brooklyn. I have the fucking court papers right here. This is what I was doing last night when I was on edibles, right? This is what I got accused of, right? I got accused of on December 12th, 1996, defendant on Binghamton, a telecast, that I defamed, inflicted bodily harm, inflicted emotional distress, and invaded the privacy by permitting and encouraging her to be called a whore, a thief, of having and transmitting venereal diseases, of engaging in sodomy, and advised to take your Jewish star and stick it so far up your ass that the David comes out of shit bait. People were saying that. I didn't say any of that shit, right? I was laughing. All of which are libels and slanders by defendant to be untrue. They were malicious, wanton, reckless, improper, and vindictive. But it went all the way to like the state of New York, Supreme Court. They like threw it out. Basically, they said that I didn't actually do it, that she came down on her own free will, and that I actually didn't actually do it. So I was like covered by like the school insurance, thank God. But
yeah, you remember I said there were 3 rules earlier? There's a 4th rule that a lot of people, that's even more so than don't mess with the gay people, is don't mess with the Jews. Like in any industry, you start that up, you're going to have a problem. Speaking of messing with the Jews, I'm going to Germany in 6 weeks to get my back fixed again, hopefully, Adam. Has nothing to do with what you're talking about. I just wanted to make a Jew Nazi reference.
So yeah.
Good luck.
That's crazy. I mean, but yes, so that was that. So there's some fights this week. I know this is a MMA podcast, and I have like another 9 pages of shit that happened when I was on. But yeah, there was the last one. This fucking comic. When I first went to LA, I worked with this comic who complained that I was too dirty because I had a really good set ahead of him in Modesto at Fat Cats. By the way, I did a show with like Modesto. It was the place that like Lacey Peterson was like found missing. And I was like, man, this place has like Gary Condit, Lacey Peterson. I'm like, what's in the water? Fucking Lacey Peterson. Like, and then everyone was like, yeah, that was fucking crazy. Anyway, so it was like, this guy complained.
My answer.
This guy complained I was too dirty.
I was going to answer that.
So he complained I was too dirty. Then I was like dating this porn star, right? And she was showing me some of her porn.
What was his name?
But she was like a Vivid porn star, like, which at the time it's not like a regular, like you get paid a contract, like you get paid by like Vivid or Wicked at the time, and like they pay you not to do porn basically. They like you can do like 5 movies a year, and they're actually kind of movies. They're not like, I mean, whatever. So she showed me that part.
So she was more of a porn character actor.
Right, exactly. So she's showing me her porn, and who's the fucking bartender? The comic that complained I was too dirty. I'm like, he's too dirty. He's in a fucking porno. I was like, bro, your life is too dirty. But then
you remember that porn guy you introduced me to in Las Vegas at your show?
Yeah.
That guy's too good to be true, man. It's something else. Anyway.
Tell the story.
Oh, no, yeah, so, Don, you'll like this. I'm at Adam's show in Las Vegas, and he introduced me to this guy as his friend. And I'm like, oh, what's up, man? I'm talking to him. The guy seems a little odd. And Adam, like, I start talking to the guy. And Adam, like, comes by before his set and whispers to me, hey, just be careful with him. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, he's a weird guy. Watch out. And I was like, okay, that's strange. Like, I know what I'm supposed to watch out for. It's like I grew up with 2 pedophiles in my basement. Like, I've got my, spider senses are all about me. So the guy starts saying, he goes, guess what I used to do for a living? And I was like, plumber? Like, I had no idea. Like, well, how am I going to know? He goes, no, I used to be in porn. And I was like, oh, really? I said, yeah, in what capacity? He goes, the best kind. And I was like, I still didn't know what he's talking about. He's like, yeah, it'd be me, like 37 other guys and 1 chick. And I was like, I don't know if that's the best kind. But,
yeah, really.
It was, yeah. And so we got talking a long thing about it, but he kept like touching my leg, like when Adam would tell jokes. And I was thinking like he was maybe wanting to add a 38th guy or something. Like I didn't know what was going on, but I wasn't really going for it. But yeah, if Adam hadn't told me to watch out, I would have been like, I had no idea. Like I'm just talking to the guy and yeah, he was like, yeah, the best kind. Me, 37 other guys, 1 chick. It was awesome. I was like,
dude, so the porn star so first she got mad at me because there was a drummer from Guns N' Roses that was passed out on her couch who was dating her roommate, like the 3rd drummer. And I was like, you're in Guns N' Roses, holy shit. And like, she said I was like fanboying about him. I'm like, well, I was like a big fan of Guns N' Roses. Then like I found her porn and she had like, she was like on the cover, just totally naked. Her name is Kaylani, by the way, if you want to know. And then I look at the back, she got like a dick in this hand and a dick in this hand. And I'm like, not so much. And she goes, don't judge me. I don't judge your comedy. I'm like, well, I don't have 2 dicks on stage while I'm telling jokes, right?
If you did, feel free to judge it.
And then she like fucking threw me out. But it's funny because like, but she was actually really cool. We're still friends, Kaylani.
The last comedy show I saw that had 2 dicks on stage were when Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub were touring together for The Fighter and the Kid.
So, by the way, porn stars, they tell people, they call people who aren't in porn, they call them civilians. Like, you're a civilian if you're not in porn.
As opposed to the veterans?
Yeah, and it's kind of like when I went to that nudist colony to do a comedy show, and they go, yeah, you can't get an erection. Like if you get an erection, they make you go in the pool or take a shower, and they go, oh, there's a newbie. They call people.
That's a pool I want to swim in. Bunch of guys with erections in it.
All right, so this week on UFC Fight Pass, this Thursday night, Nate Marquardt is fighting against Michael.
I didn't know he was fighting still.
Yeah, he did make his comeback fighting Michael Cora.
I didn't know he's still alive.
Nate Marquardt got a record of 35-18-2. He's fighting Michael Cora in Titan FC in Miami. He's not even the headliner. He's like the third guy. And then also Andre Harrison, who got fucked. He was in the PFL. I think he like made the finals one year. Next year he like made the semifinals. He's 21-2. He's like the first fight in. He's a guy that like doesn't have many finishes, but great wrestler, great guy. I don't know, man. I feel like he should have been picked up by Bellator or UFC.
What's his name?
His name is Andre Harrison. Good dude. He's just a guy who doesn't
fuck. If you can't finish, you shouldn't be in the sport. Fuck.
He's 21-2.
That's the whole damn thing about this.
Fucking these
You know what's funny is
It's
back in the day
it's-
when I would see guys with records like 32-14, I'd be thinking like, what a bum. But if you multiply my wins and losses by 2 by the same criteria, I used to, like I not realize or whatever. Like I was 20-7, so I'd be 40-14, which isn't that great. But back in the day, if I saw somebody 40-14, I'd be like, man, that guy's a journeyman. So.
Well, I think you got to look at like who they're fighting. I mean, nobody had like a worse luck than like Modi. What was that guy? Morty. Talk about a bad luck for a Jewish guy. Modi Horstein, who's like this fucking guy. He was like he was like the Krav Maga champion. He was like Israeli black belt. Who do you fight? Like Mark Kerr and like Mark Coleman were his first two.
Coleman.
Like
God.
That's a terrible draw. That's like when they asked me when they tricked me into Mark Hunt. I signed a bout agreement before I had an opponent name. So I said, well, it's going to be another first-time UFC guy, so don't worry about it. It'll be another guy's newcomer. And I'm like, okay, cool. I just didn't want to get served up to some monster, for my first UFC fight. And then the bout agreement came over after I signed a contract. It said Mark Hunt. And so I texted Monty Cox. I was like, that's not like Mark Hunt from Pride, right? Like it's Mark Hunt from Iowa or something, right? And he was like, no, it's Mark Hunt from Pride. But if you get him on the ground, you're going to be fine. I'm like, but if I don't, I'm not going to be fine. But then they give me Stephen Struve next and Ariel as co-main event at a UFC 124. And then Ariel Helwani asked me after that fight, or before the fight, he said, if you beat as co-main event, if you beat Stephen Struve, who's next for you? Because they can't move you down the ladder. And I remember saying, well, I hope not Kane or Brock or Gino Dos Santos. You know what I mean? Like I don't really want to fight any one of those guys. And everybody thought I was like a pussy for saying that. But I was just being honest. Like I didn't want to fight any really good wrestlers that were younger and better fighters than me. Like,
you don't think Brock would be a good fight for you because on the ground you may be able to submit him?
Man, I don't know if he would be a good fight for anybody at that. I don't know, in his prime when he was fighting. The good thing about Brock is if you hit him, he'll quit. So all you have to do is land one. Matt Mitrione wanted that fight for a long time because he thought he could avoid him long enough to connect with him, and he knew Brock would curl up like a baby if he got hit,
Well, everyone says that, but didn't like Shane Carwin hit him like 900 times and he didn't quit?
Yeah, I mean, they should have stopped that fight. I think he was looking for him to stop it. But after that, he wasn't the same guy, man. Like, he was looking to quit against Dos Santos. I don't care what anybody says. He was looking to quit. Or not get Dos Santos overing. He was just waiting to get hit to go down on that one. And then I was actually at the fight. I made a bunch of money on the one where he fought Cain Velasquez because I knew he was going to be able to bully Cain. And if he can't bully you, Brock's not a very good fighter, So I made a bunch of money on that. Cain, I think, was 2-1 underdog. But that was funny. I was talking to I don't remember his name. One of the guys from AKA. It wasn't Javier Mendez. It was the other guy. And I asked him, how did he see anybody beating Cain? This one, Cain was champion. I said, all right. He goes, well, I'm not going to tell you. And I was like, dude, I don't think I'm beating Cain anytime soon. I said, like, he's 7 years younger than me. He's way better at wrestling with way better cardio, way better at striking, better at everything. And I'll be tired in 90 seconds. And he won't even be sweating yet, So
now, Don, I don't understand. Like, you went down to help Brock Lesnar. He was training with Mark Kerr, and Mark Kerr like shunned you out of the room. Is that what happened?
No. Brock was supposed to come to my place, and he went to Phoenix first to talked to a strength conditioning coach, you know, for some football team that he bet when he tried out for the Vikings. And then that guy got him hooked up with Kerr. So he brought Kerr down to my fucking dojo, you know. And so we're showing Brock some stuff, and Kerr's like, no, that's not it. Do this, you know. He's just complete fucking idiot, interrupting, you know, what we're doing, and he had no idea what the fuck he was talking about either, you know. Shit.
Now, a guy like Brock, who obviously doesn't like to get hit, what would you have done to train him to make him a better fighter?
I'd have fucking hit him. I'd have made him enjoy getting hit. You know, at least understanding you're going to get hit. It's a fucking fight.
You can tell, Adam. You can tell when.
You gotta train.
Go ahead, Dom.
You gotta train your muscles and your nerves. You know, your muscles and your nerves in your face and your body to take the damage.
So what
I was never real big on getting hit and sparring, but you have to. Until you're used to getting hit, you have to do it. You know, and you just hope you don't get a bunch of brain damage doing it. But you have to spar hard until you get eye discipline where you won't flinch away when you get hit, where you don't. It's on anyone. If you started boxing today, anyone's natural reaction when they get hit is to turn their head away and close their eyes. It's human nature. You know, it just is what it is. Or to go the other way, run the other way. So you got to get used to where you see a punch come and you eat it and throw one back. And until you do that, you have to spar hard. You just have to, I mean, if you want to be a fighter. But I don't recommend these guys like Gaine and Daniel Cormier, after 10 years of fighting, we're still beating the shit out of each other every day. You know, in practice
what do you do? So you basically head gear on a guy, and then you fucking put him in a corner of a ring and just let guys tee off on him, kind of?
No, you just make him fight back. Put him in with a better striker. Tell the better striker not to kill him, but make him stand there and fight. And if he doesn't want to do it, he needs to get in a different business. You know, like if he doesn't want to get hit,
don't hurt him. Get pepper his face. You know.
Yeah. I mean, no one loves getting hit in the face, or getting punched at all. But if you can't get used to it, man, you got to be able to stay calm, breathe. If you can't get used to it, it's like it hurts more than being in a choke. But it's kind of like in jiu-jitsu. If you never have a guy never get passed out from getting choked out, he doesn't know how far he can go to get. You know, I mean, you're going to panic when you get in a choke. Whereas I've been in a choke before in practice for 6 minutes straight, like a gi choke, passing out and waking up over and over again, which probably wasn't good. Wow. But I also knew exactly how far I could go before I needed to get out of that position, you know? That's
how I tore my ACL, because I'm so used to, like, wrestling mentality, Don, of, like, tough it out, tough it out, tough it out. I kept putting my fucking leg and my arm in the worst position and not tapping, and then my ACL just started to pop like an idiot. So this week we have Derek. This week we have Derek Lewis versus Cyril Gaine. Gaine is 9-0. It's for an interim title shot, heavyweight champion for the interim title, which I don't understand why Ngannou's still not the champion. I don't understand why CB doesn't get a rematch, best out of 3. But how do we see this fight going? Sean,
I'm going to go with Derek Lewis, man. I think the other guy's a better fighter, but Derek Lewis surprises me every time he fights, man. He gets out of the craziest positions. If he really applied himself, there's no telling how good he could have been, man. He is tough, man, and hits hard and doesn't quit, but he usually comes in out of shape, you know, but or having to take a dump, but one of the two. But, yeah, I'm going with him. I think he's got the one-punch power to do it, man.
Don?
Yeah, I'll go with Derek Lewis. I'll actually watch these fights this weekend, you know. I like watching Derek fight, for one thing, and I think the other guy is completely overrated, but, you know, why they stripped Ngannou of the belt just because he said, no, I want a little rest, you know, it makes no sense.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Also on this card, I'm picking Cyril Gaine. I think that Derek Lewis, in a 5-round fight, I think he's going to get frustrated, and I think this dude's just too crafty for him. I think he's going to stay away and outpoint him, and that's what's going to happen. This guy's had a lot of kickboxing fights, and Lewis seems to, like, not choke, but, like, when he fought Cormier, when he gets to that next level, he sort of, I don't know, doesn't we'll see. Also, Pedro Munoz versus Jose Aldo. Aldo just keeps surprising me. I don't understand how he's he's still around. I mean, he's still really at the top of his game, kind of. Who do we like in this fight? McCorkle.
Yeah, I'll go Aldo, man. I don't know. He's going to eventually be one of those guys that he just doesn't have it anymore, one fight. But he's surprised me several times, man. I thought he was done after McGregor, and he just he keeps coming back.
Don? Hello?
Yeah, I'll go with Aldo too. You know, hello.
Yep.
I said I'll go with Aldo too. For some reason, he just keeps surprising you. You know, the guy's still there.
Pedro beat Jimmy Rivera. He lost to Frankie Edgar, though, and he lost to Aljamain Sterling. He knocked out Cody Garbrandt, but that was when Cody was fighting like a madman. So, yeah, he's lost the last 2 out of 3. Kiesa versus Vicente Lucay. That's a fight I want Kiesa to win, but shit, this guy Lucay, he ran through Tyron Woodley. He beat Randy Brown. He beat Nico Price. He lost to Stephen Thompson, but that dude's so hard to fight. He beat Mike Perry before that. He knocked out Barberena, knocked out Krantz. I mean, he's a monster. But Kiesa is a dude that, like, he's starting to really come into his own. If he's winning Ultimate Fighter, he beat Neil Magny, beat Rafael Dos Anjos, beat Diego Sanchez, beat Carlos Condit. His last loss was to Anthony Pettis, 2018. And he lost to Kevin Lee in a weird fight that was stopped kind of early. But he probably would have went out. Who knows? Who do we like in this fight? Don Frye.
I don't know either one of them, partner. So I'm going to have to step aside.
McCorkle.
I'm going to go Lucay, man. I've never been a big fan and not thought he was that great, but he has looked good his last couple. I remember because I lost money betting against him. Yeah, I'm going to go with him. I think Kiesa. Didn't Kiesa lose to Diego Sanchez also?
No, he beat Sanchez. He killed him.
But he got close to losing, right? Like, wasn't he giving him a real hard time? Or
No. He beat Diego like 30-27, I believe it was. Or
really? I was thinking,
30-26. All three judges had 30-26. So
he lost to somebody that surprised me. I can't remember who it is now, but yeah, I'd still go Lucay.
I'm going to go with Kiesa. I don't know why. I just because he comes on my show and he's a friend of mine. So this is all heart right here. Angela Hill versus Tisha Torres. Tisha came to my show last week. She's awesome, but she has like this stone face, like resting bitch face. I don't know what she's thinking, but she seems to love the show, and I love her. She's awesome. This is going to be a good fight. Both these girls are great strikers. Tisha won the first one. I'm looking forward to this one a lot. Any thoughts on this one, you guys?
Yeah, I always go with Angela Hill, man, mainly because her grandparents got abducted by UFOs. Yeah, maybe Tisha Torres is mad because some guy tried to put a magic marker on his toe and have his way with her. I don't know. That would make you have that face for a long time.
Yes. And then also on the card is Casey Kenny, who lost Dominic Cruz. He's from Tucson. He's fighting Song Yadong. Song Yadong, who trains Team Alpha Male. They have a lot of like Asian guys now, I think from China. He lost to Kyler Phillips. He beat Marlon Vera, lost to Cody Stamen. I like Casey Kenny in this one. I think Dominic Cruz is just awkward for anybody. I think people don't realize how awkward he is until they get in there with him. But I think
I'm surprised that Dominic Cruz didn't request that he fights Sonya Dong, because I heard Dominic Cruz is always looking for a dong. But
you say this, but he's all right. Okay. And then Ed Herman versus Alonzo Menefield. Alonzo Menefield's a guy that like went to like 7 different youth centers as a kid. He was adopted by like a Christian family from Nigeria. A guy that took him and his brother, like raised him. He couldn't read till he was like 13 years old. Then he played college football and was like a badass. Won his first like 8 fights by knockout. Lost to Devin Clark. Lost to OSP by knockout. Won his last fight by Von Flue. He's a guy with a crazy story. He's fighting Ed Short Fuse Herman, who's 24-14, who's coming off a win against Mike Rodriguez by Kimura. But I think that was this should be a good fight. This should be a really good fight. Any thoughts on this one?
I think Ed Herman will get beat like a redheaded stepchild. I don't know. I can't believe Herman's still fighting. I know nothing personally against him, but he was fighting when I was fighting, and he had been there longer than me, like way longer. So I don't know how old is he? Like he had been in the UFC for like 7 or 8 years when I got in the UFC. And that was 10 years ago. So.
Yeah. Speaking of which, it got announced that Lamar Odom is fighting Riddick Beau in a boxing match. Riddick Beau is 53 years old. Don, any thought? Who do you think's gonna win this fight? Lamar Odom, Riddick Beau.
I'd bet my house on Riddick Beau.
I mean, he looks like he could barely walk.
Everything I have.
Sean McCorkle?
Why, is he fat or what?
He looks like he's fat. Looks like he doesn't look like the Riddick Beau that you remember. Put it this way.
If you said he's fat and out of shape, he looks exactly like the Riddick Beau I remember. As soon as he won the title, he never trained another day in his life. But I think he still beats Lamar Odom.
Remember when he like threw the title in like the trash can in a McDonald's or something? Like he like
trash can.
Yeah, he was fucking crazy. Yeah. So yeah.
It's not a coincidence he was at McDonald's throwing away a championship belt. I don't think that was not surprising.
Oh my God!
You remember when he was going to be in the Marines for like 3 weeks one time? That was weird.
Like 3 days.
Yeah, like he didn't last very long. And then did he beat up his son or something real bad?
Something happened with him. I don't know where Hector Lombard is. He said he was coming on the show. Here's what happened. I can't stay long. I'm doing some work at home. All right, let's do next week. Next week works. Next week works, brother. Yeah. So that's that. I talked to Mayhem Miller. He's doing great. He's kicking ass. Happy for him. Yeah, man.
You know, me and Mayhem never liked each other. Like for years, I didn't like him, and he didn't like me because some underground stuff. But when he was on your podcast last time, I loved him. I thought he was awesome. Like I guess I never gave him a chance. But yeah, Mayhem's great.
He is. He a lot of people, he's definitely changed a lot for the better. I like him when he's not in the Mayhem character. When he's just being himself. He's the best. I think sometimes he feels the need to like be that crazy guy, and it's like he's enough. You're like I always tell him, Jason, you're enough as it is. You're enough. You don't have to like act. I love him the way he is. Because sometimes when he tries to impress him, whatever. Okay, let's talk about. Did I ever tell you when I used to play basketball with like Patrice O'Neal and Kevin Hart and those guys?
Uh-uh.
Like when I first started doing comedy, I was like 19. I used to go to the Comedy Cellar, and one time I was like afterwards. I'd watch like Patrice, Rich Voss, and Colin Quinn, and Kevin Hart. We would go play basketball at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Jim Norton. There was a comic named Steve Marshall who I loved. One time we were going there, and there were all these like, I don't know, shady-looking guys there. And Steve's like, "What if we get jumped? What are we gonna do? Whip out our tape recorders?" And and then Jim Norton goes, "Press play, they'll run." That was like the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. And I'm like, they used to call me Open Mike. That was my fucking nickname, Open Mike. But Patrice was really good because he was so big. He must have been like 300 and something pounds, and he was hard to guard. And
Plus he was black.
Kevin Hart, like literally, if he was bigger, could have been a college basketball player. He fucking was awesome. Kevin Hart was really good. Yeah, he was legit. But I like some of those comics though. Like I remember like being like the young comic on the scene. I remember going to like a Christmas party, and there was like this girl I was hitting on, and not those comics, but these other comics that were like headliners. Dude, there was like a girl I was talking to, and these comics like went like around them and started like almost like putting their dicks on her, like rubbing their like.
I didn't know you hung out with Louis C.K. back then too.
I mean, their dicks were like in their pants, but they were like, and then like she like moved away, and I moved away with her. And then I ended up like making out with her because she was like, "Get away from me!" Like, and then the other comic was like, "Tell me how cool I was," because all these headliners were like hitting on her, and she went home with me. But I was like, "Oh, why were these guys trying to put their like? What were they thinking?" I mean, this is like 20-something years ago. But like,
maybe they just wanted to get in the pool. They were hot, so they were like, "There's one way for sure to get sent to the pool."
I mean, these dudes had like no. I don't understand like where that was like. You can't just like put your dick on a girl. Even if it's like in your pants, it was insane. It was I don't know. Then I was dating this one girl who like she was a stripper. I didn't know that. I picked her up on the street. I ended up doing like cocaine off her tits.
You thought she was a hooker. It's like, oh wait, you're a stripper? Like, it's disappointing.
Yeah, dude. And then I did coke off her tits one night, and then I was like 2 days into. I was like 21 years old. We were dating for like 2 days, and then during sex, I looked at her and I'm like, I love you, and I told her I loved her after like 2 days, which was like fucking insane. I don't know what I was thinking. Like I was an idiot. I was like 20, you know, but at the time I was convinced I loved her. I took her to the comedy club. We sat in the front, and the comics kept picking on her because she wore like low cut thing, and she was heckling back. And she like flashed her tits to the comics, and I remember just being so fucking embarrassed. And then like I told her, I'm like, it's over. I can't hang out with you anymore. I can't believe that. And she told me that she was like abused when she was younger and like molested or something. And I just remember it's all kind of
They all were. You know, every stripper was, and every stripper is in nursing school. You know, for 8 years.
I don't know if they all were, but this was definitely was. But yeah, those were some good times.
Sounds like it.
This is all shit I thought about edibles. I don't know. It seemed a lot funnier last night when I wrote it down than when I'm telling it now. Do you even like this show? Are you guys even interested in this? I feel like I'm just telling you this and you're looking at me like, I can't even imagine the comments I'm going to get from people going like, no one gives a fuck about your fucking edible. And then people are going to tell me, when's Mayhem coming back? Or some other fucking bullshit. Like, dude, this one guy, hello? Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Is anybody still here? Hello? I can't see anybody. What's going on? Hello? Yo, I don't even know what's going on.
Hello.
Yeah, I feel like I was talking to myself the whole time. Hello, hold on. I gotta let McCorkle in. Sean. Hello? Yeah. Yo, what's going on?
All right, I'm back. I don't know what happened.
You guys even like this show today? I feel like we didn't even talk about MMA. I'm gonna get.
I thought you were talking about I thought you were talking to the fans, not us. Like when you said you guys like this, I was like, "Are we live? What's going on?"
Do you guys even like this, Sean? I feel like I'm talking to myself.
No, I love it. It was funny.
Good. All right.
You should eat edibles more often.
You know, I used to be a bar mitzvah dancer. You guys heard that story?
No, that's awesome. I didn't know bar mitzvahs hired strippers. That's odd.
Dude, like,
why would a bar mitzvah hire a stripper to come to it?
They hire like these party motivators in Long Island to come and get the party going. And like someone like me, it was like I was like 19. The girls like 20. Like professional dancers, like club dancers and stuff. My job is to get everyone going. You know, I'm like a hype man for little like really rich kids.
At a 13-year-old kid's party?
Yeah, a 13-year-old kid's party, dude. Yeah, some of these bar mitzvahs are out of control. Like I remember one of them, they were saying they hired that one girl, Kiesa, to perform there, but she didn't know it was a bar mitzvah, so she started like stripping at it and like twerking and shit, and like all the dads were like really into it, but all the moms were like grossed out.
I bet. I was with a friend one time in Louisville, and he got really drunk and he had to go to the bathroom and disappeared for like 7 hours. So I thought something had happened to him. Like I hadn't talked to him like 3 or 4 hours. I was like, dude, where are you at? What is going on? And he just kept texting me, I'm at a black bar mitzvah. Come pick me up. Yeah. And it was I just kept saying like a black bar mitzvah. He goes, I don't know. It's a bar mitzvah. It's only black people. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. And he didn't know where he was. And I kept saying like where. It was before like iPhones and stuff. I was like, come pick you up where? He's like, at the black bar mitzvah. And I was like, dude, I'm not from here. I don't know. Like, is there a black synagogue in town? Like, I don't know what's going on, man. And he ended up, I got back to my hotel finally at like 4 a.m. and he was sleeping in front of my hotel room door. Like just laying on the ground sleeping. So I don't know how he got back. So I wake him up and I'm like, dude, go to your room. He goes, no, there's somebody in there. And I thought he was just paranoid. I was like, there's nobody in there. I go there. There's a homeless guy who's like 7 foot tall in his room, bleeding from his head, right? Like, or whatever. He let this homeless guy go into his room and sleep in there. And he was going to sleep in my room. I was like, you're not sleeping in my room, dude. Like, you've already got a room. And so I throw the homeless guy out. I was nice as I could be, but I was like, dude, you got to go, or whatever. Yeah. And so when I go back, my drunk friend is laying on my bed, all sweaty and stuff. And I was like, dude, I'll just sleep in his room. Like, forget this. I go back to his room, lay down, fall asleep, wake up next morning with something on my face. And I looked up in the mirror and I had blood all over my face. So apparently the homeless guy had laid down with his bloody head all over the pillow and flipped it over before I came in. In the middle of the night, I flip the pillow over to sleep on it, wake up with blood, a homeless guy's blood all over my face. I have some of it on film. It was really funny when he was trying to talk the homeless guy into leaving his room. It was I didn't even have to take edibles to think of that story, but I forgot about that since it happened. It was crazy.
Dude, at one time, me and my friends used to do comedy. Like, they have proms. After the prom, they'd have comedy shows, right? Like 3 o'clock in the morning, they would like after prom comedy shows. And it would be the worst. So one time a kid jumped on stage, he wanted to fight me. It was like a military school, and I was like, sit down, asshole. The Christian, you get heckled by like prom kids. But the one time they were on like boats that like traveled around New York City. So me and my friend one time got on the wrong boat, and it was a bunch of black deaf kids. So we're on the ship, like the boat, like the cruise, and all these kids are like signing, and I'm like, what is this, Def Jam? Like, I'm making like stupid. But then we realized that we were on the wrong ship. We were on the wrong boat, and like got off it, went on the right one.
I had like 7 jokes in a row I couldn't say. So if it's too far for me, you know it's way too far.
Yeah. Dude, one time I did a show at after prom, and it was like right by Pelican Bay Prison, and all these kids, their parents were either in jail for life or they worked at like the prison. And I ended up like, one of the girls that was like a bartender there, I was like 24, 25. She was like 21, and she was like cute. So I got her number, and I ended up like she was a masseuse also, and gave me a massage the next day. And then like I banged her like in the massage parlor. But this other comedian that I worked with fucking told my friend that I banged one of the high school kids. I'm like, no, she was working there. So I had to be like little fucking hater. I'm like, what a fucking hater, dude. Like, you know, people, they just start shit with you, you know? Right, Don?
I've got an awesome story, but I'll probably save it for another day about a massage therapist, man. It was the funniest thing ever. But it takes like 15
tell us now to close the show.
Okay, I'll give you the quick version. So I go to Florida to fight for Roy Jones' promotion, like my last fight. He kind of like, Roy Jones talked me into it. He said, you can fight anybody you want, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't want to say no to him because it was kind of like, he's my childhood hero. So I was like, sure, I can barely walk, but I'll go ahead and do it. So I'm in Smoothie King the day before, or 2 days before the fight, and I'm talking to a girl there, and I said, like, getting a shake or whatever, protein shake. I said, do you know any sports massage therapy places here in Pensacola that are, like, really good? Like, I didn't want some place Brennan Shaw would go. But a place like that. And she goes, oh, I'm a massage therapist. And I was like, are you really? And she was like, yeah. And she was talking with an Australian accent. And she goes, I just do this part-time. And I was like, oh. And I said, where are you from? And she said, Perth, which I had just fought before against Saul Palele, who's from Perth. Like, he's like a legend there, I guess, or whatever. And I said, you know who Saul Palele is? He's from your town. She was like, no. I said, he's a fighter. She goes, nah. I was like, that's weird. But she's talking to me in this Australian accent, and I was talking to her about being Australian. She didn't seem to know much about Australia for somebody that was from there. And so she said she could just come to my condo and do the massage there so she could do it without having to share the money with her employer or whatever, like do on the side. I was like, okay, cool. So she shows up there, and she starts giving me the worst massage I've ever had. Like, she doesn't appear to know what she's doing, just pushing on spots and this and that. And then she was like pushing my lower back, and she said I'd go lower. Like, I was kind of almost asleep, probably from boredom. But she said I would go lower, but you'd probably like it, you faggot. And I was like, wait, what? Like, when she said, I was like, what? And she goes, what? And I said, you just call me a faggot? She goes, no. Started laughing. It's like, what did you think you heard? I was like, oh, never mind. I just thought I heard, never mind. So I'm sitting there. So she says a couple other things during the massage that's the worst massage ever that insinuate I'm gay. And so I'm like, man, that's really weird. So, but she was real funny, but just strange. So she ends up leaving or whatever. She only wanted $30 an hour, which is not normal either. You know what I mean? I was like, it's so strange, man. You know, like, so I paid her whatever, the 30 or 45 bucks for it. So she leaves. So the next time I'm down there, I go to the same Smoothie King like 6 months later. And I said, hey, does that girl still work here? It was from Australia. That was a massage therapist. And the guy's like, what? And I said, the girl from Australia. He goes, there's nobody from Australia that's ever worked here. And I was like, no, this girl, she does massage therapy on the side. And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I've been here 3 years. And so I was like, okay. So the next time I go down, I tell like another year later, because I always go to the same place in Florida. I asked another guy in there, is there a girl that worked here from Australia that was a massage therapist? And he goes, no. And I said, he goes, I'm the owner. And he goes, I would know. And I said, so there's not anybody. He goes, there's somebody that used to claim to be Australian, sometimes worked here. And he goes, but some days she was English, some days she was Australian, some days she was from Africa. He said, some days she was a chiropractor, some days she was a lawyer. It just depended on what day. So I realized like she wasn't a massage therapist, nor was she Australian, and I let her in my like condo, like you know what I mean, like she could have killed me or anything, but yeah, she kept making like gay slurs toward me the whole time. I kept thinking like, why is this girl saying this? Like, why is she keep insinuating I'm gay? But yeah, apparently she was like schizophrenic or something crazy.
Oh my,
you know, or whatever. And but yeah, when the guy told me that, man, I laughed for like 2 hours after that because I was like, I couldn't believe I just took her word for it that she was Australian and massage therapist, but turns out she was just crazy. So
that's hilarious.
It was really funny.
Well, listen, that's our podcast.
Crazy
today.
woman. Well, that's a rarity.
Who'd have thought?
Well, that's our podcast today. I'm not sure what we accomplished, but I love you guys, and
Yeah, man.
I'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, John.